Have you ever grown potatoes with care and patience only to feel let down when harvest time arrived and the yield was barely worth the effort? Or maybe you've imagined baskets overflowing with large golden potatoes from your own garden, but assumed it would take endless digging, watering, and hard labor to make that happen. What if there were a surprisingly simple method that delivers massive potato harvest without exhausting your body or consuming your time? In this video, I'm going to uncover a powerful potato growing trick that experienced gardeners quietly rely on to dramatically increase yields while keeping maintenance low. You'll learn exactly how to set up your soil, choose the best potato types, plant correctly, care for them efficiently, and harvest impressive crops. All with practical, proven techniques. No hype, no shortcuts, just real methods that turn an average potato patch into a powerhouse producer. 1. Choose the right variety. Every potato is not created equal, and the variety you plant can be the difference between a disappointing handful of tubers and a truly abundant harvest. Long before your shovel touches the soil, success begins with smart variety selection. Think of this step as casting the lead role in a movie. Even the best production fails without the right star. Potatoes are typically grouped into 3 categories based on how long they take to mature: early, mid-season, and late varieties. Early varieties are the fast growers. They mature quickly, often within 70 to 90 days, making them ideal if you want early-season new potatoes. These potatoes are smaller, tender, and exceptionally flavorful. Harvesting them feels like uncovering hidden treasure just as the growing season begins. Popular early types include Red Norland, Swift, and Yellowfin. Mid-season varieties offer a balance between speed and yield. They usually mature in about 90 to 110 days and tend to produce larger, more substantial tubers than early varieties. These potatoes are excellent if you want to spread out your harvest and avoid pulling everything at once. Well-known mid-season choices include Yukon Gold, prized for its buttery texture and versatility, and Kennebec, a dependable all-purpose potato ideal for frying, roasting, or mashing. Late-season varieties are the heavy hitters. Taking 120 days or more to fully mature, they reward patience with the biggest, densest potatoes and the best storage potential. If your goal is maximum yield and long-term storage, these are the varieties to focus on. Favorites include the iconic Russet Burbank, known for massive baking potatoes, and German Butterball, valued for its rich flavor and impressive size. For gardeners chasing high yields with minimal effort, planting a mix of early, mid-season, and late varieties is a smart strategy. This staggered approach allows you to harvest continuously instead of all at once. You'll enjoy small, tender potatoes early in the season and transition to larger, storage-ready tubers later. It's like turning your garden into a steady, season-long potato supply instead of a single, overwhelming harvest. Now let's talk about seed potatoes, which form the backbone of any successful potato crop. Certified seed potatoes are grown specifically for planting and are tested to ensure they're free of disease. This gives your plants a strong, healthy start. Avoid grocery store potatoes. Many are chemically treated to prevent sprouting, which can seriously reduce productivity in the garden. When selecting seed potatoes, choose firm, healthy tubers with several visible eyes. These are the growth points where new shoots emerge. Larger seed potatoes can be cut into smaller sections, as long as each piece contains at least 1 or 2 eyes. This stretches your planting stock and increases efficiency, but there's an important step many gardeners skip. After cutting, allow the pieces to dry for 1 to 2 days in a cool, well-ventilated area. This drying period lets the cut surfaces form a protective callus, reducing the risk of rot and disease once planted. Skipping this step is like sending soldiers into battle without armor. It weakens the plant before it ever begins growing. Lastly, consider how each variety fits your climate and your kitchen. Some potatoes handle cool weather better, while others thrive in warmer soil. Some excel in salads, others shine when baked or fried. By choosing varieties that match both your growing conditions and your cooking habits, you're not just planting potatoes, you're designing a harvest tailored to your lifestyle. Selecting the right potato variety isn't just the first step, it's the foundation that supports everything that follows. With the right choices made early, every stage of growth becomes easier, more productive, and far more rewarding. From planting to hilling to harvest, the right varieties set you up for the abundant, satisfying potato harvest you've been dreaming about. 2. Prepare the soil the smart way. Paraphrased version. When it comes to potatoes, they aren't fussy plants, but they do follow one simple rule. Give them soil they enjoy, and they'll repay you with an abundant harvest with very little effort. Growing great potatoes isn't about constant watering, heavy feeding, or endless labor. The real secret is building a soil environment that naturally supports strong roots, healthy plants, and large, well-formed tubers almost on autopilot. Potatoes thrive in soil that is loose, well-draining, and packed with organic matter. Heavy clay soil tends to suffocate roots and restrict tuber expansion, often resulting in small, deformed potatoes and disappointing yields. On the opposite extreme, very sandy soil drains too quickly, drying out roots and stressing the plants. The goal is balance. Soil that holds moisture without becoming waterlogged, offers structure without compaction, and provides steady nutrition throughout the season. Begin by loosening the top 12 to 15 inches of soil. If your ground is compacted, a broad fork is your best friend. Push it into the soil, gently rock it back and forth, and lift slightly to open up the ground. Work your way across the bed without turning the soil completely. There's no need for aggressive tilling, which can destroy soil structure and harm beneficial organisms. Think of this step as fluffing a pillow. The easier it is for roots to move, the bigger and more numerous your potatoes will be. Once the soil is loosened, it's time to feed it. Potatoes are heavy feeders, so now is the perfect moment to add plenty of compost, well-rotted manure, or leaf mold. These organic materials do far more than supply nutrients. They improve soil texture, encourage beneficial microbes, and help the soil retain moisture evenly. Avoid using fresh manure as it can damage tender roots and introduce disease. For an added boost, mix in a small amount of bone meal or rock phosphate. These slow-release amendments support strong root systems and robust tuber formation, laying the groundwork for large, healthy potatoes. Here's where the process really shifts into high gear. Instead of planting potatoes in flat ground, use raised beds or mounded rows. This simple change can dramatically improve results with almost no extra work. Raised beds provide superior drainage, preventing tubers from sitting in soggy soil where rot can develop. They also warm up faster in spring, creating a comfortable microclimate that speeds early growth. Most importantly, mounds make hilling much easier later, a critical technique for increasing potato yields. Growing potatoes in raised beds or mounds encourages them to expand upward into loose, airy soil rather than struggling through compacted ground. As the plants grow, you'll gradually add more soil or mulch around the stems. This protects developing tubers from sunlight, which can turn them green and inedible, and gives them ample space to expand. The payoff is impressive. Larger, cleaner potatoes that are easier to harvest and far more satisfying to pull from the ground. To make conditions even better, consider topping your beds with a layer of mulch or shredded leaves. This extra layer helps lock in moisture, stabilize soil temperature, and suppress weeds. Think of it as insulation for your potato patch. It keeps everything calm and balanced underground. Combined with loose, fertile soil, mulch significantly reduces maintenance while quietly boosting yields throughout the season. One often overlooked detail is soil pH. Potatoes prefer slightly acidic conditions, ideally between 5.5 and 6.5. If your soil leans alkaline, adding garden sulfur or peat moss during bed preparation can help bring the pH into the ideal range. This not only improves nutrient absorption but also lowers the risk of potato scab, a common disease that causes rough, corky blemishes on tubers. When you step back and look at the finished bed, raised, nutrient-rich, well-aerated, and evenly moist, you're not just looking at soil. You're looking at the perfect launchpad for explosive potato growth. With this foundation in place, your plants can focus entirely on producing tubers instead of struggling to survive. In the end, investing a little extra time in soil preparation saves weeks of work later. It allows potatoes to grow naturally and vigorously with minimal intervention. And when harvest time arrives, the reward is undeniable. A generous pile of large, healthy, beautifully formed potatoes, all made possible by building the right soil from the start. 3. Planting your potatoes correctly. Paraphrased version. Planting potatoes may look straightforward, but the difference between an average crop and an abundant one comes down to timing and proper technique. Potatoes prefer cool soil, not freezing conditions, so choosing the right planting window is essential. In most temperate climates, the ideal time to plant is about 2 to 4 weeks before the last expected frost. At this point, the soil has begun to warm enough to encourage sprouting, while still staying cool enough for potatoes to thrive. In warmer regions, planting in early spring works best. Just be sure the soil isn't saturated, as overly wet ground can cause seed potatoes to rot before growth even begins. Seed potatoes form the foundation of a successful harvest. These are either small whole potatoes or pieces of larger ones, each containing at least one strong eye, the point where new shoots will emerge. If your seed potatoes are large, cut them into pieces roughly the size of an egg, making sure each piece has 1 or 2 healthy eyes. After cutting, allow the pieces to dry in open air for 1 to 2 days. This drying period lets the cut surfaces form a protective skin, significantly reducing the chance of rot once planted. Depth and spacing play a major role in how well your potatoes develop. Plant each seed piece 4 to 6 inches deep, positioning the eyes upward so shoots can easily reach the surface. Space the potatoes about 12 inches apart to give each plant enough room for tubers to expand. Keep rows 24 to 30 inches apart, which allows easy access for hilling, watering, and harvesting later in the season. If you're planting in mounds, shape a low hill about 6 to 8 inches high for each seed piece. This initial mound sets the stage for future hilling and encourages tubers to form in loose, well-aerated soil instead of dense ground. After placing the seed potatoes, cover them with light, crumbly soil and water gently, just enough to settle the soil around the seed. Avoid soaking the area at this stage, as excessive moisture can slow root development. Within a short time, small green shoots will break through the surface. This moment signals that your planting was successful and that the next phase of growth is about to begin. From here on, the real advantage comes from careful hilling and mulching, the technique that turns a modest potato patch into a high-yield system. 4. The secret potato trick: hilling and mulching. Paraphrased. Version 1 of the most common mistakes gardeners make is leaving the soil flat around their potato plants. While it may seem simpler, flat planting restricts tuber development, exposes potatoes to sunlight, which turns them green and bitter, and invites weeds to compete for nutrients. The true secret to growing large, healthy potatoes is surprisingly simple. Keep covering the plants as they grow. When potato shoots reach about 6 to 8 inches tall, it's time for the first hilling. Gently pull loose soil up around the base of each plant, covering the lower stems while leaving the top leaves exposed. This isn't just for protection. Like every time you bury part of the stem, the plant responds by forming new tubers along that buried section. Because potatoes produce tubers wherever stems are underground, repeated hilling directly translates into a larger harvest without extra fertilizer or intensive care. Continue this process every 1 to 2 weeks as the plants grow taller. Each time the shoots rise another 6 to 8 inches, add more soil or mulch around the base. The key is gradual layering. Never bury the entire plant, but consistently cover new growth while keeping the top foliage above the surface. This steady approach allows tubers to multiply beneath the soil throughout the growing season. Instead of using soil alone, many gardeners prefer hilling with straw or hay. This method requires less physical effort and offers several major advantages. Straw helps retain moisture by keeping the soil evenly damp during hot or dry periods. It also blocks sunlight from reaching the soil surface, preventing weeds from sprouting and competing with your potatoes. Additionally, straw reduces soil compaction caused by heavy rain, maintaining a loose environment where tubers can expand freely. When harvest time arrives, potatoes grown under straw are much easier to collect, as they're nestled in soft material rather than packed earth. For optimal results, aim for 3 to 4 hilling cycles over the course of the season. By the end, your potato plants will resemble compact green shrubs above ground, while below the surface, dozens of well-formed tubers are developing in layers. A useful tip for maximizing size is to lightly cover the lower leaves rather than burying them completely. This allows the plant to continue efficient photosynthesis while still encouraging heavy tuber production. For gardeners who want to go the extra mile, a light sprinkling of wood ash or a small amount of balanced granular fertilizer during each hilling can provide an added nutrient boost. However, this step is optional. In well-prepared soil, potatoes often thrive and produce impressive yields using the hilling method alone. By combining proper spacing, raised beds or mounds, and repeated hilling with soil or straw, you create a potato growing system that nearly takes care of itself. Watering needs are reduced, weeds are minimized, and fertilizer use stays low, yet the harvest is remarkably generous. Tubers grow large, clean, and uniform, protected from sunlight and stress. In short, hilling and mulching transform your potato bed into a self-renewing system. The more consistently you layer and cover throughout the season, the more potatoes you'll uncover at harvest time. Best of all, this technique works for every type of potato, from small tender salad varieties to massive baking potatoes, making it one of the most reliable secrets for effortless, high-yield potato growing. 5. Watering for maximum yield. Paraphrased version. Watering may sound like the easiest part of growing potatoes, but it's actually one of the most important factors in producing big, healthy tubers. Many gardeners unknowingly sabotage their harvest by watering too often or not enough. Both mistakes can dramatically reduce yields. The real secret isn't how frequently you water, it's how deeply and consistently you do it. Potatoes develop their tubers below ground, and the plants rely on strong, deep root systems. When the soil dries out too much, tuber growth slows or stops, leaving you with small, underdeveloped potatoes. On the flip side, constantly wet or waterlogged soil can cause tubers to rot, promote disease, and weaken the plant's structure. That's why the best approach is deep, spaced out watering rather than daily light sprinkling. Instead of watering a little every day, give your potato plants a slow, thorough soak once or twice a week. This pushes roots to grow deeper into the soil in search of moisture. Deeper roots support larger tubers and help the plants handle heat and dry spells more effectively. Think of it as training the plant to be self-sufficient. The stronger the root system, the more productive the harvest. One stage matters more than all the others: flowering. When potato plants begin to bloom, it's a clear sign that tubers are forming underground. During this phase, the plants are channeling energy into potato production, and any moisture stress can lead to cracked, misshapen tubers. Inconsistent watering at this stage often results in uneven growth, which affects both appearance and long-term storage quality. Mulching makes proper watering far easier. A thick layer of straw or organic mulch acts as a moisture regulator. It slows evaporation, keeping the soil evenly damp for longer periods. It also stabilizes soil temperature, which is especially important during hot weather since potatoes dislike excessive heat. On top of that, mulch suppresses weeds, ensuring your potato plants don't have to compete for water or nutrients. As a general guideline, potatoes need roughly 1 to 2 inches of water per week, including rainfall. However, soil type matters. Sandy soils drain quickly and may require more frequent watering, while clay soils hold moisture longer and should be monitored to prevent soggy conditions. Always check the soil a few inches below the surface. It should feel moist, not sticky or muddy. How you water is just as important as how much. Try to avoid soaking the leaves, as wet foliage encourages fungal diseases like blight. Instead, direct water toward the base of the plants, focusing on the soil around the mounds or straw-covered hills. Drip irrigation or soaker hoses are ideal, delivering water slowly and evenly without causing runoff or compacting the soil. If you're using straw or hay as mulch, start by lightly watering the top layer so it absorbs moisture and transfers it downward. After that, occasional deep watering is all that's needed. This combination of mulch and deep watering creates a stable, low-maintenance environment where potatoes can grow with minimal input from you. Above all, remember that steady moisture beats heavy watering, followed by long dry periods. Moderate, regular watering encourages uniform tuber development, resulting in potatoes that are larger, smoother, and easier to store. Quick pro tips. During hot or dry weather, don't judge soil moisture by the surface alone. Straw may look dry while the soil underneath is still perfectly damp. Avoid shallow watering. It keeps tubers close to the surface, leading to smaller, uneven potatoes. Mulch also shields tubers from sunlight, preventing greening and bitterness. When watering is done correctly, your potato bed practically manages itself. The plants grow steadily, tubers expand evenly, and the risk of disease drops significantly. Combined with proper hilling and mulching, deep and consistent watering completes the trifecta for massive, low-effort potato harvests.